Hi there. So, you've been wondering how someone who makes $30,000 a year can buy a house, right? Don't worry. I'm going to explain it to you, step by step. Before we continue, if you are wondering how I saved $20,000 in 1 year, you can access the video in the card section. What does buying a house actually mean? Okay, so imagine you want to buy something big, like a shiny new bike. But this bike is really expensive, and you don't have all the money right now. What would you do? You'd probably save up some money first, right? Then, if it's still too expensive, maybe you'd ask your parents or someone to help you pay for it and promise to pay them back little by little. Buying a house works the same way. Houses cost a lot of money, way more than you can save up in a year or two. Most people don't just take all the cash out of their pockets to pay for it. Instead, they save a small part of the money, called a down payment. Borrow the rest of the money from a bank, which is called a mortgage. Pay the bank back a little every month for many years, usually 30. Why do people want to buy a house? Great question. Why would someone want to spend so much money on a house? Well, think of it like this. A house gives you a place to live. It's like having a super cozy clubhouse where you're the boss. When you own a house, it belongs to you. No one can tell you to move out. Over time, houses can become more valuable. That means if you buy a house for $150,000 today, it might be worth $200,000 in the future. So, owning a house is kind of like planting a money tree. It grows slowly, but in the end, it's worth a lot. How much does a house cost? Houses cost different amounts depending on where they are and how big they are. For example, a small house in Mississippi might cost $100,000, but a big house in California could cost $500,000 or more. If you make $30,000 a year, it's best to look for houses that cost about 3 to 4 times what you earn. So, let's say you're earning $30,000. 30,000 times 3 equals 90,000 to 30,000 times 4 equals 120,000. That means you should try to find houses in the $90,000 to $120,000 range. What's a down payment? Let's go back to the shiny new bike example. Say the bike costs $100 and you saved up $10. If you give that $10 to the store owner, that's your down payment. When you're buying a house, the down payment is usually 3% to 20% of the house's price. For a $100,000 house, a 10% down payment would be $10,000. If it's 5%, you'd need $5,000. The bigger your down payment, the less you'll have to borrow from the bank. And that's a good thing. How do banks help you pay for a house? Now let's talk about the bank. The bank lets you borrow money to buy a house, but they don't do it for free. They add something called interest. Interest is like a small fee you pay them for letting you borrow their money. Let's say you borrow $135,000 from the bank to buy a $150,000 house because you already paid $15,000 as your down payment. The bank might charge you 6% interest per year. That means, in addition to paying back the $135,000, you'll also pay extra money as a fee. But don't worry, you don't pay it all at once. The bank divides it into small amounts that you pay every month. This is called a monthly mortgage payment. How long does it take to pay off a house? Most people pay their mortgages over 30 years. That's a long time, probably longer than you've been alive. But because the payments are spread out over so many years, they're smaller and easier to manage. For example, if you borrow $135,000 with a 6% interest rate, your monthly mortgage payment would be about $809. That's what you'd pay the bank every month for 30 years. What's coming next? We'll talk about how to save money for your down payment, how to spend less, and how to make smart decisions with your money so you can start your journey to buying a house. Remember, small steps today can lead to big rewards tomorrow. Now that you know the basics of buying a house, let's talk about the first big step. Saving up for your down payment. This part might feel tricky, but don't worry. I'll show you some super simple ways to do it. Why is a down payment important? The down payment is like your ticket to buying a house. When you pay this amount, the bank sees that you're serious about buying and trusts you more. Plus, the bigger your down payment, the less you borrow. 1. If you borrow less, you'll have smaller monthly payments. You might get better deals from the bank. 2. If you pay at least 20% of the house's price up front, you can avoid paying extra fees like private mortgage insurance, PMI. So, let's say you're aiming to save 10% of a $150,000 house. That's $15,000. Sounds like a lot, right? But don't worry, we'll break it into manageable steps. Step 1. Set a goal and create a plan. Saving for a big goal is like climbing a mountain. You do it one step at a time. First, figure out how much you need. For our example, it's $15,000. How long you have to save. Let's say you want to buy a house in 5 years. Now divide the amount by the number of months monthly savings needed equals total down payment divided by months. 15,000 divided by 5 times 12 equals $250 per month. So you'll need to save $250 every month. Step 2. Cut back on spending. Saving money doesn't mean you can't have fun. It just means being a little smarter about how you spend. Here are some easy ways to cut costs. 1. Eat at home more often. Instead of spending $15 on takeout, cook at home for $5. That's $10 saved every time. If you skip eating out twice a week, you save $80 a month. 2. Cancel subscriptions you don't use. Do you really need 3 streaming services? Cutting just one could save you $10 to $15 a month. 3. Shop smarter. Look for sales or use coupons when buying groceries and clothes. Small savings add up. Step 3. Find ways to earn extra money. If saving from your current income isn't enough, why not earn a little more? Here are some ideas anyone can try. 1. Part-time jobs. Babysitting, dog walking, or delivering food are great ways to earn extra cash. If you make $100 a week, that's $400 a month. 2. Sell things you don't need. Have old toys, clothes, or gadgets lying around? Sell them online or at a garage sale. 3. Turn hobbies into income. Are you good at drawing, writing, or making things? Offer your skills to others and charge a small fee. Step 4. Open a savings account. It's super important to keep your savings safe. Open a special bank account just for your down payment. Here's why. Keeps your savings separate. You won't accidentally spend it. Grows your money. Some accounts give you extra money called interest just for keeping your savings there. For example, if you save $15,000 and your bank gives you 2% interest, you'll earn about $300 extra in a year, just by leaving your money alone. Step 5. Stay consistent and motivated. Saving for a down payment takes time and it's easy to feel frustrated. Here's how to stay motivated. 1. Celebrate small wins. Every $1,000 you save is a big achievement. Treat yourself to something small, like a favorite snack or a movie night. 2. Visualize your future home. Imagine yourself living in your dream house. What color are the walls? What's in the backyard? Thinking about this will make saving feel worth it. 3. Track your progress. Use a chart or an app to see how close you are to your goal. Watching the numbers grow is super exciting. How long will it take to save $15,000? Let's do some quick math. If you save $250 a month, it will take 60 months, 5 years. If you earn extra money, like $100 a month, and save it too, you'll save faster, about 4 years. What's next? Now that you know how to save for your down payment, it's time to think about what kind of house you want and how to get a loan from the bank. In the next part, I'll explain how to pick the perfect house and how banks decide if they'll lend you money. So far, you've learned how to save for a down payment. Now it's time to talk about picking the right house and how the bank decides whether to give you the money to buy it. Let's break it down step by step, so it's super easy to understand. Step 1. Deciding what kind of house you need. When you're buying a house, it's important to think about what you need and what you can afford. Let's look at some key questions you should ask yourself. 1. How big should the house be? Do you need 2 bedrooms or 3? Will you live alone, or do you have family or roommates? 2. Where do you want to live? Houses in some places are cheaper than others. Think about things like schools, parks, and how close it is to work or stores. 3. What's your budget? Remember, if you make $30,000 a year, a house that costs around $90,000 to $120,000 is a good range. You can use an online mortgage calculator to check if the monthly payment fits your budget. Step 2. Understanding what the bank looks at. Before the bank agrees to lend you money, they check a few things to make sure you can pay them back. It's kind of like how your parents might check if you've done your homework before letting you watch TV. Here's what the bank looks at. 1. Your income. The bank checks how much money you earn every month. If you make $2,500 a month, the bank usually allows you to spend up to 30 to 35% of that on your house payment. For example, 30% of $2,500 is $750. So, your monthly mortgage payment should be around this amount or less. 2. Your credit score. A credit score is like your report card for how well you've managed money in the past. If you've paid bills on time and haven't borrowed too much, your score will be high, and the bank will trust you more. A good credit score is usually 700 or higher. If your score is lower, the bank might still lend you money, but they'll charge you a higher interest rate. 3. Your debts. The bank also looks at how much money you already owe. For example, if you have a car loan or student loans, the bank wants to make sure you can afford all your payments. Step 3. Getting pre-approved for a loan. Before you start looking at houses, it's a good idea to get pre-approved for a loan. What does that mean? Think of it like this. Imagine you're going to a store to buy a toy, but you need your parents to pay for it. Before you go, your parents tell you, "Okay, we'll give you $20 for the toy." Now, you know exactly how much money you can spend, so you don't waste time looking at toys that cost $50. When the bank pre-approves you, they tell you how much money they're willing to lend you. This helps you focus on houses you can actually afford. Step 4. Picking the perfect house. Now comes the fun part, house shopping. Here's how to make the best choice. 1. Work with a real estate agent. A real estate agent is like a tour guide for house buying. They help you find houses, show you around, and even help you make offers. They usually get paid by the seller, so you don't have to worry about paying them. 2. Visit multiple houses. Don't just pick the first house you see. Visit a few and compare them. Look for things like, is the roof in good shape? Are the rooms big enough? Does the neighborhood feel safe? 3. Think long term. Will this house still be good for you in 5 or 10 years? For example, if you're planning to start a family, you might want extra bedrooms. Step 5. Making an offer. Once you find a house you love, it's time to make an offer. This means you tell the seller how much you're willing to pay. Your real estate agent will help you with this part. If the seller agrees, you'll need to 1. Pay your down payment. 2. Work with the bank to finalize your loan. How much will you pay every month? Let's say you found a $150,000 house and you're putting down 10% $15,000. That means you'll borrow $135,000 from the bank. If the bank gives you a 30-year loan at a 6% interest rate, your monthly payment will be about $809. But don't forget, you'll also need to pay for property taxes, about $125 a month, and home insurance, about $100 a month. So, your total monthly cost might be around $1,034. What's coming next? You're almost ready to buy your dream house. But before you sign any papers, you need to understand the extra costs that come with owning a home, like maintenance and repairs. In the next part, I'll explain how to budget for these expenses and make sure you're fully prepared for home ownership. So, you've saved for a down payment, picked out your dream house, and even gotten approved for a loan. That's amazing. But owning a house isn't just about paying the mortgage every month. There are other costs you need to know about so you're fully prepared. Let's dive in. The hidden costs of owning a home. When you buy a house, your mortgage payment is just one piece of the puzzle. Here are the other costs you'll need to think about. 1. Property taxes. Every homeowner has to pay taxes to the local government. These taxes help pay for schools, parks, and roads in your neighborhood. The amount depends on where you live, but let's say it's around 1% of your home's value per year. For a $150,000 house, that's about $1,500 per year or $125 per month. 2. Homeowner's insurance. Insurance protects your house from things like fire, storms, or other unexpected damage. It usually costs around $100 per month, depending on the size and location of your home. 3. Maintenance and repairs. Houses need care, just like people do. Sometimes things break and you'll need to fix them. A good rule is to save 1 to 3% of your home's value each year for maintenance. For a $150,000 house, that's $1,500 to $4,500 per year, about $125 to $375 per month. 4. Utilities. Utilities include water, electricity, heating, cooling, and internet. These costs depend on your usage, but let's estimate $300 per month. 5. HOA fees. Optional. If you buy a house in a neighborhood with a homeowners association, HOA, you might have to pay monthly fees for things like shared pools or landscaping. These fees vary, but they can range from $50 to $300 per month. How much should you budget each month? Let's put it all together for our example house that costs $150,000. Mortgage payment, $809. Property taxes, $125. Home insurance, $100. Maintenance, $125. Utilities, $300. Total monthly cost, $1,459. So, even though your mortgage is $809, the total cost of owning a home is closer to $1,459 per month. That's why it's so important to plan for these extra costs. Building an emergency fund for your home. Life happens, and sometimes you'll face unexpected costs, like a leaky roof or a broken furnace. That's why every homeowner needs an emergency fund. Here's how to build one. 1. Set a goal. Save at least 3 to 6 months worth of home expenses. For our example, that's about $4,500 to $9,000. 2. Save a little at a time. Add a small amount to your emergency fund every month. Even $50 or $100 can add up. 3. Keep it separate. Open a special savings account for your emergency fund so you're not tempted to spend it. Ways to save on home ownership costs. Owning a house can be expensive, but there are smart ways to save money. 1. Do-it-yourself repairs. Learn basic home repair skills like fixing a leaky faucet or painting walls. You can watch free tutorials online and save hundreds of dollars. 2. Energy efficiency. Use energy-efficient light bulbs, turn off lights when you leave a room, and seal windows to keep your home warm in winter. These small changes can lower your utility bills. 3. Shop around for insurance. Get quotes from different insurance companies to find the best deal. Some companies offer discounts if you bundle home and car insurance. 4. Preventative maintenance. Regularly check your home for small problems, like clogged gutters or cracks in the walls. Fixing these early can prevent expensive repairs later. How owning a home can save you money in the long run. While the upfront costs of owning a house might seem high, there are long-term benefits. 1. No more rent payments. Instead of paying rent to a landlord, you're building equity in your own home. Over time, you'll own the house outright. 2. Your home can increase in value. Houses often become more valuable over the years. For example, your $150,000 house might be worth $180,000 or more in 10 years. 3. Tax benefits. In some cases, homeowners can deduct mortgage interest and property taxes from their income taxes. This means you might get some money back during tax season. How to know if you're ready to own a home. Before buying a house, ask yourself, 1. Can I afford the monthly costs, including taxes and insurance? 2. Do I have an emergency fund for unexpected expenses? 3. Am I ready to stay in one place for at least 5 years? If the answer is yes, congratulations, you're on your way to becoming a homeowner. What's coming next? In the final part, we'll talk about how to make the buying process smooth and stress-free, from signing papers to moving into your dream home. We've come so far on this journey to owning a home. You've saved your money, picked the right house, gotten approved for a loan, and planned for all the extra costs. Now it's time for the final steps, buying the house and moving in. Let's make it as simple and exciting as possible. Step 1. What happens during closing? Closing is a fancy word for the process of officially buying your house. Think of it like the finish line of a race. You're almost there. Here's what happens. 1. Review and sign the papers. You'll sit down with a group of people, like your real estate agent, a lawyer, and the seller. They'll explain all the paperwork you need to sign, like the loan agreement and the title to the house. This might take a few hours, so bring your patience and maybe a snack. 2. Pay the closing costs. Closing costs are fees you pay for things like loan processing, property inspections, and paperwork. These usually add up to about 2 to 5% of the home's price. For a $150,000 house, that's around $3,000 to $7,500. 3. Get the keys to your new home. Once everything is signed and the payment is made, you'll officially own the house. The seller will give you the keys, and it's all yours. Step 2. Preparing to move in. Now that you own the house, it's time to get ready to move in. Here's a checklist to make the process smooth. 1. Change the locks. Even though the seller gave you the keys, it's a good idea to change the locks. This ensures you're the only one with access to your home. 2. Set up utilities. Call the utility companies, water, electricity, gas, internet, to transfer the services to your name. Make sure they're up and running before moving day. 3. Clean and inspect. Before bringing in your furniture, do a deep clean of the house. Walk around and double-check everything like doors, windows, and light switches to make sure they're working properly. 4. Make repairs, if needed. If the home inspection showed any small problems, like a leaky faucet or peeling paint, take care of these before unpacking. Step 3. Moving day. Moving day can feel like a big adventure, but it's also a lot of work. Here's how to make it easier. First, pack smart. Label your boxes by room, like kitchen or bedroom, so it's easy to unpack. Pack an essentials box with things you'll need right away, like clothes, toiletries, and snacks. 2. Ask for help. Invite friends or family to help you move. You can make it fun by offering pizza or treats. If you have heavy furniture, consider hiring professional movers. 3. Take your time. Unpacking. You don't have to unpack everything in one day. Start with the essentials and go room by room. Step 4. Settling into your new home. Once you're all moved in, it's time to make your house feel like home. 1. Decorate your space. Hang up pictures, add cozy furniture, and personalize your home to make it yours. You don't have to do everything at once. Decorate a little at a time. 2. Meet your neighbors. Say hello to the people living next door. They can be a great source of help and friendship. 3. Create a routine. Start building habits for taking care of your home, like watering plants, cleaning regularly, and keeping track of bills. Step 5. Celebrate your achievement. Buying a house is a huge accomplishment, so take a moment to celebrate. Here are some fun ways to do it. 1. Throw a housewarming party. Invite your friends and family to see your new home. You can keep it simple with snacks and music. 2. Take photos. Capture the moment to remember how far you've come. You'll look back on this as one of the proudest days of your life. Final tips for long-term success as a homeowner. Owning a home is a big responsibility, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Here's how to make the most of it. 1. Stay on top of maintenance. Regularly check things like your roof, heating system, and plumbing to avoid costly repairs later. 2. Budget for improvements. Over time, you might want to upgrade parts of your house, like adding new floors or redoing the kitchen. Save a little money each month for these projects. 3. Enjoy your home. Remember, this is your space to create memories, grow, and relax. Make it a place you love coming back to every day. Congratulations! You've officially gone from dreaming about owning a house to actually living in one. Buying a home is one of the biggest steps you can take in life, and now you know exactly how to do it. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, don't forget to share it with someone who's dreaming of owning a home too. And remember, whether it takes a few years or a few months, every step you take gets you closer to your goal. See you next time.